Do you hear my
Hello,
voice?
I'm live on YouNow.
Hello? Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Do you hear my voice? For a second, my voice, I guess my microphone wasn't working. Uh, so if you can hear you hear me. Hello! That is good news. That means that we solved both of the problems that we had, and not just one, but all of them. Um, so I'm sharing this to Instagram right now. I have my phone over here. Sorry. So let's do a live stream. Woo. I gotta, cover all my bases with sharing everywhere. I don't know why it wasn't connected to YouTube. So fun fact, my YouTube channel, it's like it's a custom URL. I don't know if that's what causes it, but like there's my email address that I use with my YouTube channel, but then my YouTube channel is like in addition to that email address. I don't know how to describe it. But so it's not the initial channel that pops up with my email address. But I figured it out. We fixed it. Everything's good. So hello, friends. Welcome to the live stream. We gonna be chatting it up about whatever you want. But before we do any of that, I want to share something really, really gay with you all. Um, so I currently have a few videos that are in the works. One is already filmed. I don't know if that's going to be the video that goes up this weekend, but that's the video that I did with Lachlan Watson. I don't know if I'm going to upload that video this weekend or the coming weekend after that, but I do have multiple different videos. But one of the videos that I'm working on is that I'm going to like redecorate slash like no, that's really the only word to describe it. Redecorate this here. So where I film videos and stuff. And so I bought some stuff and I just want to go through it with you. That way you get the inside scoop since you came to the live stream. So let me just go through what I bought. So I have, as every gay does, I got some succulents and they're in, get this. They're in, look at that. They're I just thought that was the cutest thing because I mean it's just too precious. And then this was actually I don't quite know what this is, but this was a gift that one of my friends bought for me for my sweet 16. Hard to believe that was 4.5 years ago. Um, and then I bought some containers, I guess is what you would call them. They look like drawers. These things I got when I was like 12, and I still have them for some reason. Um, but yeah, just trying to spruce up the background a little. So hopefully it looks nice and cute. Is it cacti or cactuses? I'm pretty sure it's cacti, but also I feel like regardless of what you say, people will know what you're talking about and it'll be fine. Um, but yeah, so and also the best part that is not up there yet um, is I found this canvas that has the weirdest image on it like possible. I don't know why this exists, but naturally I had to buy it. Look at this. What is the point of this? This is like the most absurd thing I can think of, and I just love it because it's just so weird. But yeah, it's just a rabbit riding either a llama or an alpaca. I don't know which that would be considered. Oh, alpaca. It says on it that it's an alpaca. But I just think that was very interesting and right up my brand of obscure artistry. I don't know. It was like just weird enough for me to be like, yeah, I want that in my house. Um, but yeah, and then I have this candle that is of my favorite flower, which is a gardenia, which I love them. They smell so delicious. They are so good. Alrighty. So yes, now that I'm done being homosexual. We can start being trans and talk about my transition. So I assume that you all watched the video because how else would you know that I was doing this? I mean, unless you saw on my other social media. But anyway, so I uploaded a video on Sunday that was my 2 years on testosterone like update video thing. And then I just answered some of the questions that I get asked the most often over the past 2 years about my transition. But then I said, hey, if you don't see your question answered, then you can ask it here. So, ta-da! Opening the floor for some cues. And I say that because I see that someone said, you said we could ask you questions about your transition. Yes, you can. Go for it. All the questions you want to ask. And we could just talk about it. Oh, you said it was a good video. Thank you. I wish I had done more editing for it. But I think it's nice. It's a nice chatty video. It's definitely not like as artistic as my 1 year on testosterone was, but I didn't really want it to be like the same thing because my 1 year on testosterone video was like a whole bunch of comparison pictures and videos and like showing my journey until I got to being on testosterone and being a year on testosterone. And this one I kind of wanted to just be comparing like my transition to my transition thus far, you know? So I just answered some cues and that was it. There are two pictures two pictures in that compare from an earlier stage in my life, and it's because of my hair. There's a picture of me when I was 3 and then the picture of me when I was 13, I think I was 13 in that picture. Alrighty. Why did you want to stop testosterone on around 7 months? To be honest, I don't even remember saying that. So if I did say that, I think it was just because I know that I wanted to see how testosterone would make me feel before I would like commit to it long term. Because I mean, you can stop taking hormones. Like I could stop whenever. But I wanted to like get my foot in the water, see how it made me feel, and then if I was like, you know what, psych, I don't want to do this, then I could just stop. So I just kind of wanted to test the waters to see how long I wanted to pursue it. Like if I wanted to pursue it for like an extensive period of time, if that makes any sense. Yeah? Okay. How are your parents in regards to you being 2 years on T? So my mom has told me that it caught her off guard to actually notice changes at first because my voice started changing. Like if you look at my pre-T videos compared to my 1 month on testosterone video, my voice had changed. And so by 3 months it had been quite a bit more drastic of a change because that was when I was at that like milestone moment where people ask if you're sick. And so she did say that she was a bit caught off guard at first at the fact that I was actually like physically changing. But she did say that what matters to her is that I'm happy. And so she's very supportive now. And she's even like I've talked to her about my changes and she helps me like I don't know, get access to resources and stuff. Like she helps me with insurance and yada yada if I need it. Which I don't anymore, which is nice because the Planned Parenthood that I go to, they are very, very, very lovely people, and I'm very, 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 very fortunate that they offer me the resources that they offer me. Alrighty, let's see. What inspired you to be on YouTube? So fun fact. When I was a tiny child, I think when I was, I say that, but there are probably some of you here that are this age. When I was like 11, my best friend and I, we used to make music videos together. And so we would film them and then I would edit them and I wanted to put, like, I wanted to edit videos, and so I would put the videos onto YouTube. I'm so sad though, because there was one music video we filmed and I couldn't get the song for it. So I uploaded this video to onetruemedia.com, and wouldn't you know it, onetruemedia.com went out of business, and so we lost the footage, we lost the video, and I was so sad because it was such a cool music video. It was to the Alice song by Avril Lavigne, back from the Alice in Wonderland live action, first that movie many years ago. But then I had wanted to be a YouTuber when I was younger, and so I started making like vlog type videos, and then it was around the time that I came out as non-binary that I realized that I was looking online to try and find other non-binary, specifically agender YouTubers, and I couldn't find any that I felt, well, I couldn't find any, firstly, but then even beyond that, I couldn't find any non-binary people that I felt represented me and my gender experience. So then I decided might as well talk about my life and my gender experience and be the representation that I couldn't find so that I could offer that for someone else. So that's like the origin story of why I started my YouTube channel. How did you know you were agender versus a trans guy? Okay, so the way that I usually describe this is when I was younger, I thought I was a trans guy. But the way that I realized that I wasn't was I realized that being seen as a boy made me feel good, but not because I was a boy. So, like, for example, being seen as a boy made me feel good because it meant that I wasn't being seen as a girl, so I wasn't being seen as my gender assigned at birth. But then I realized it wasn't because I was a boy, because being called like a man and visualizing myself as a man just still felt like off. So I usually describe it as like I talk about it like sweaters. So I say that for example, having been called a girl was like an itchy sweater that was too small, and then being called a boy was like a sweater that was too big, where it was like more tolerable but still not right for me. And so then I realized, well, it's because I'm not a boy either, because I I liked being seen as a different gender because it meant that I wasn't being seen as my gender assigned at birth. But because it still like felt wrong, that's how I realized, whoa, I'm not that gender either. So what am I? Um is the microphone still not working? People are saying that the microphone sucks. I'm so sorry. I don't know what's happening. I'm so sorry if this microphone is being tragic. Thanks for thanks for sticking with me and uh, being troopers as it just malfunctions horrifically. Um, Alrighty. And then the next question was, being agender, how did you know T was the right choice for you? So I don't know how much in depth I've gone about like what my experiences were around the time where I decided definitively that I was going to start testosterone. But I have wanted to start testosterone, or I've considered it ever since I was 14. So when I was 14 is when I first came out as trans. And then I went back and forth about if I wanted to start testosterone or not. And so I figured that if this is something I'm having this much doubt about, then I'm just gonna not do it. So I was very, very sure that I was never going to start testosterone because I was like, I'm uncertain. I'm going back and forth. And so then when I was 18 and a half, this was the year that I turned 19. I I got my first retail job, and I know that when people look at me, they are automatically trying to categorize me. And it's just like human nature to try and categorize things. And so people saw that that I had a job. And so from there, they knew that because I had a job that I had to be at least 16, and so then they thought that my high pitched voice meant that I was a girl, and then being called a girl nonstop 24/7 was so uncomfortable. Is the microphone still working? Checking in, checking in. It's fine now. It had a really bad echo once or twice. Okay. Sorry, just checking to make sure that everything's still working, because a live stream without a microphone is kind of pointless. Um, so, all right, so then because people kept calling me ma'am, woman, that girl, yada yada, that body dysphoria that I have, and I kind of explained this in the video, the body dysphoria that I had, I kind of like, I just tolerated it. It didn't seem like that big of a deal to me. Like I was dealing with other things in my life. Like I had got my own apartment, I was living on my own. And so it was something that I was putting on the back burner of things to deal with. But then working at this job and being constantly referred to as a woman because of because of the things that caused me body dysphoria, my body dysphoria was being amplified because it's as if suddenly other people were noticing the things that make me uncomfortable and then they were pointing them out, not purposefully, of course. Um, but because of that, I ended up having many, many, many crises. I know that I'm laughing about it now because I can handle it, but I was having a not fun time, and I decided, nah, I gotta look into starting testosterone because I finally realized like just how intense my body dysphoria was, specifically in regards to like my face and my voice. So that's when I decided to like really start pursuing testosterone, even though it was something I had wanted for many years. Yeah, and so I only knew that taking testosterone was the right choice for me because I hit like a rock bottom with my dysphoria. So I feel like obviously it's different for everyone if they decide to start hormones, like what brings them to wanting to start hormones. But for me, it was going to a very low dysphoric place, which tends to be a common theme I see among people, but also is not like the only explanation. Um, how was slash is your experience with Planned Parenthood? So Planned Parenthood, if you don't know, Planned Parenthoods all like operate independently of each other, um, and there are only a select few within the country that even offer like hormones and trans related transition related healthcare. And so I'm very lucky that where I live, the Planned Parenthood that I go to, there's a huge trans population here and a huge trans population that goes to the Planned Parenthood that I go to. And so everyone there is very, very sweet. They have a lot of trans people that work there. They're very educated on everything. Obviously, every Planned Parenthood can be different. So I would say just scope out the Planned Parenthood that is near you that you're considering just to see what it's like, before you decide about committing there, because uh, there could easily be an endocrinologist closer to you that is better than the Planned Parenthood that's close to you. Alrighty, let's see. Have you had bottom surgery? I have not. There are many different bottom surgeries, by the way, but I have not had any bottom related surgeries. um, do you have plans for top surgery? I keep forgetting that like a lot of people, I should have included this in the video, but a lot of people have asked me questions about if I want to get surgeries, which makes sense since they're transition related questions. um I been vocal about this? I'm not sure. I talk about this to people, but I don't know if I've talked about it in a video much. But I don't currently have plans for getting top surgery. I don't feel like it's on my radar of something that I want to get. But the reason for that is because I do already have a very naturally flat chest, Um, and so I like my chest the way that it is. I like the way my chest feels. And I'm at the point where I feel like I would be content having top surgery and content not having top surgery. So that's kind of why I've not been interested in having it, is just because I feel like I'd be fine either way if I had it or if I didn't have it. Because the only difference really that having top surgery would afford me is that the very minimal breast tissue that I do have would be removed, and then I would have a chest that's socially acceptable to be seen outside. But I'm not really the type of person to want to take a shirt off anyway. So, I mean, the one thing that having top surgery would grant me is like one thing that's not really, I don't know, not really something that I care about anyway. So I don't know. I feel like I'd be fine if I did. I'd be fine if I didn't. So I'm just fine chilling right now, not having it and not having any interest in getting it. Alrighty. Let's see. When did you know you wanted to go on testosterone? I talked about that earlier about how I knew when I was 18 and a half. So I waited until after I was an adult. Um, And now I'm 20 and a half. And isn't that wild? I turned 21 in August. And people on the internet still think I'm like 16. Let's see. Scrolling, scrolling, scrolling. Hello, hello. I see that the microphone keeps messing up. So sorry for how horrible this microphone is. I might have to get my other microphone, like my external microphone, for the next broadcast. So I'm trying to do these weekly. But the reason why is because I have a new computer. And it is like a tablet that connects to a keyboard. And so the connectors are faulty, and they will disconnect and reconnect constantly. It is the most like obnoxious thing ever. Um, but so they keep reconnecting and then disconnecting and then reconnecting. So that's probably what's happening, is that the keyboard keeps freaking out and disconnecting. So I am so sorry. Rip to the headphone users. I apologize. I will try to figure out how to use my own mic next time. The microphone that I connect into my camera, because I'm pretty sure I can connect it somewhere, somehow, doing something. Who knows? But we'll see, maybe next time, if it works. But technology is not always my friend, okay? In fact, technology is like never my friend. Let's see. Someone said, "Are you gay?" I am. I am. Uh, I am under like the bisexual umbrella and the pansexual umbrella. I always joke and say that I'm gay for everyone because in no way do I ever feel like my attraction to someone is straight. I just, every attraction that I feel is always queer. Not transition related, but are you going to the Philly Trans Wellness Conference? I am not quite sure. That I'm pretty sure it's right around the time that VidCon is. Let me check my phone. It's in July, isn't it? Um, let's see. When is the Philly Trans Wellness Conference? Let's see. It is. Do you like my pop socket? Okay. Yeah, it is Thursday, July 25th to Saturday, July 27th. Um, I can plan to go. I have friends here that want to go, that said they would be willing to go with me. The only problem with that is I'm not entirely sure. I'll have to wait till it gets closer to the days, because this year for VidCon, I'm going to be spending much longer in Los Angeles than I have before. So usually for VidCon, I stay in Los Angeles for 5 days, like a week or less ish. Um, However, I have a lot of things that I'm planning that are in Los Angeles that are going to be taking place around VidCon. So I might just go earlier and then have VidCon be the last thing that I do, and then fly back to the East Coast and then go to the Trans Wellness Conference because I would love to go. I have never been before. I think it would be amazing. Um, but it just depends on if I get free time, if I have the money to go, and then if like I don't know if I can just not die, be so tired from having traveled so much before. Let's see. How has dating changed for you since starting T? It's interesting that you ask that. Um, so I don't know so much. Okay, so here's something that I'll say is that when I was pre-T, it was very evident that people were reading me as a queer girl. And so, as a person who likes girls, it was very easy for me to find other queer girls because they read me as a queer girl and we would be attracted to each other. We would talk, you know. But now I'm no longer read as a queer girl. So I I don't uh often date girls anymore. Not because I don't like girls, because I do, but just that I don't come off as a queer girl. So it's very hard because most people they think that I'm a gay guy, and so girls wouldn't be attracted to me because they think that I'm not attracted to them, and so I don't really have many options when girls don't think that I'm into them. But I do date pretty much not like consciously exclusively trans people, but that's just how it's turned out that I've over the past however many years, ever since I was 16, 17, that I've only been dating trans people ever since I've come out as trans, which is just an interesting concept. But I mean, girls don't think that I like them, so then they don't try to flirt with me. And I mean, I guess I could flirt with them, but we all know that queer girls trying to talk to queer girls, there's the running joke that like um, the joke of does she like me or is she just being nice? Which definitely I still have like residual feelings from when I used to be a lesbian before I realized that I was trans. I'm just being like, wow, she's really nice. But I just tend to date only trans people because usually other trans people can tell that I'm trans. Um, Whereas like cis people, they don't always realize that I'm trans, but usually other trans people know. And then we befriend and we talk or whatever. Let's see. Da, 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 da. Looking through more questions. Were there ever moments of change on testosterone where it was difficult to process the changes? And even though it's good change, it can be scary. So it's interesting that you say that because I I'm lucky in the sense that the changes that I wanted from testosterone I have received, and the only changes that I didn't want that I still ended up receiving were like just more acne, like oily skin, which to me is something that I can handle easily because while I have the worst like will to refrain from picking at my face because I pick at myself too much whenever I have acne, which I know I need to stop. Um, but because of that, It is something that like I struggle with a bit just because of that. But it's still fine to me. But I'm very lucky that the majority of the changes that I didn't want, which there were only a few, were things that I bypassed. So, like, for example, and this is like super TMI, but we're gonna say it anyway. Um, I didn't personally want changes to my lower half. If you're catching my drift, I'm just gonna leave it like that. And I didn't really receive those changes like at all, which is nice to me because that's not something that I like. I feel the same way about that as I do towards top surgery. Like I would have been content either way, but it would have been something that would have taken some getting used to, you know. Um, but I think that the reason that I didn't experience any changes is because that was one of the first things to start changing when I first started testosterone. But when I first started testosterone, I was very, very inconsistent and I missed a bunch of shots. Like the first 6 months of me being on testosterone was just like constantly missing shots and constantly like having an irregular schedule with my shots because I'm supposed to take them every week. And when I first started testosterone, that was not happening. And I noticed that the first month I was taking my shots consistently. And then at the end of the first month is when it just went like all haywire, my scheduling. And for the first month, there was change. And then after that, when my shot schedule became so irregulated, then it just stopped changing. And it's weird because now, even though my shots have been regular for a year plus, I haven't noticed any changes like that anymore. So that's an interesting thing. Obviously, I can't say definitively that is the reason why. So don't take that with a grain of salt, of course. But that is just my hypothesis that will be forever untestable. But that's just what I think is the case. There were not many changes that I did not want from testosterone. Um, because if there were, I would have decided to not do it. But I will say that one thing that has been very hard for me since starting testosterone, which is also the same thing that I wanted the most, with my voice changing, I have lost my singing voice, and it is a proper tragedy because I do not sound good at all when I sing anymore, even a little, not at all. It is like the worst singing voice. I'm just not. It's not a cute sound at all, and that has been really hard on me because it feels like every time I'm singing, I'm straining my voice, and it hurts to sing. Like it hurts to talk sometimes because my voice, like my vocal cords, just feel so strained all the time. And so it's weird that like this is why I say that it's the hardest change to deal with because it's something that I wanted so much because I wanted my talking voice to be lower. But I didn't want to just obliterate my singing voice, you know. But it's like, I mean, I figured that the pros outweighed the cons. And like, I mean, you know, it's just one of those things. Life goes on. But yeah, so I do know a lot of people that maintained their singing voice going on testosterone. The majority of them, and I'm pretty sure actually all of my friends that I've talked to, they started at a low dose of tea and stayed on a low dose for a very, very long time. I did not do that. I, within the first year, got all the way up to the prescription that I'm at now, which is like a pretty regular prescription dosage. And so I feel like maybe I rushed it too much so that it affected my vocal cords really quickly, if that makes any sense. Um, so it's kind of like now we play the waiting game where my my body has to catch up with the testosterone to see if my vocal cords will chill out later in life. Um, But yeah, all of my friends that maintained their singing voice, they were actively singing the entire time that they were starting testosterone and throughout starting it and being on it. They were actively like in singing programs, so like in chorus, or they were singing like YouTubers that sing or whatever. Like they were actively performing consistently, which is another thing that I didn't do. And they were on a low dose for a while. So obviously I can't say that that is completely true either. Like that's definitive. If you do this, this will happen. But that's just what I've witnessed. Um, so yeah, yeah, that was very hard for me, losing my singing voice because I like to sing, and now I can't do that anymore. I'm debating still on whether or not I want to do a singing comparison where I essentially sing a duet with my pre-T self. We shall see if I get up the courage to be like, yeah, I'm gonna sound like trash. That's okay. We're gonna do it anyway. Just so that people can see that change. Because, okay, I exaggerate. It's not that I sound horrible, it's just that I have lost so much range that I can't do much anymore. Like, Taylor Swift has no range, but she sounds good when she sings. I have no range and I sound uh, uh, like listening to me won't like hurt your ears, but it's just still not good, you know? I'll make fun of myself a lot to try and, cope. Just kidding, of course. Aren't you a musician? I'm actually not musically inclined in any way, shape, or form. And it's funny because I have a ukulele, I have an electric guitar, I have a recorder, and I used to have a keyboard. And I can't play a damn instrument to save my life. I know for a fact that if someone said to me, play this instrument or we will kidnap your family, I would say, tell my family I love them and I'm sorry. So I cannot do anything musical whatsoever. Someone said couldn't sing pre-T, can't sing now. Okay, listen, I relate to that too, because my voice before, like, I liked singing and I liked it, but there were plenty of times where I did not sound good. Are you friends with Miles and or Noah? I'm friends with Miles, and I would say that I'm friends with Noah. Um, because I believe that both of them have shown the maturity where when someone else has a different belief from them, they are willing to learn from them, and willing to like not speak over them. So, like for example, I know that I have different beliefs from other people in the trans community. It's a very divisive community, um, but being able to speak in my own space like this, saying to my viewers, hello. Um, and um, I don't know. I feel like being able to, I guess, not feel like, because we know that there are some trans YouTubers, and I will not say any names, but we all know the one that immediately comes to mind that actively go into other people's spaces and berate them and are dehumanizing to them and are loud and unfortunate and very just rude. We can't hear you. You can't hear me again? It's not working? Hello, hello, hello. Okay, cool. Sorry. All right, just checking. But obviously we know that there are examples of folks that are very quick to be against everyone else, um, and lash out at them, and essentially people that say I'm a real trans person because these are my goals, and someone who has different goals from me is not actually a real trans person. I feel like I'm willing to be friends and be cordial with people that do not align themselves like that, like people that are mature enough to say it doesn't affect me and it like someone, however they identify, they're going to still identify that way regardless of how I feel about it. Like people that are mature enough to know that at the end of the day, not everyone, like, I don't even know how to say what I'm trying to say. Like people are going to live their own lives. Just let people live their own lives and stop trying to police other people. So people that have shown maturity like that, oh no, it says that it expired. Is it still here? Are you still working? Did it go? Did it leave? It says we're still live. That was very weird. So it's still working. Okay, that was so weird. Okay, because I had a pop-up from YouNow that said session ended. Please log in again, and I was like, what? Okay. And yes, I do still have the drawing that you gave me when we were 11. Sorry, I have a real life friend who is asking if I have a drawing of Kyogre. It used to be on my wall, like right here, even. I think it was like right in the center behind me. But when I left for college the first time, as you notice, there is no fan art here at all. Also, I took all of it down and I brought it with me to North Carolina when I went to college. And um, my plan was to hang it up when I went to college. But then when I went to college, I was like, that's a joke. I'm not staying here. And so then I packed it all up and brought it back up here with me to Virginia, where I live now. And so all of the art, all of the wonderful art that you all have sent me, it is still here. And all of the wonderful art that like friends have made for me throughout the years, uh, it is, I still have it, but I have kept it packed away for when I move out again. But fun fact, let me just show you. So this area right here where I kept all the fan art stuff, that has been taken down. However, give you a behind the scenes look at the secrecy of my room, because I don't think I've ever actually shown really what my room looks like a lot. Um, but I have a whole bunch of stuff that is up above at the top of my room where you can't see. So there's a whole world up there that has been unexplored. Or at least like it's not visible in the cameras because it's just so high up. But I have hella posters and drawings. That's so funny that you asked that. And I'm pretty sure I have more drawings from you too, Dana. I'm pretty sure I have. There's a dragon that you drew for me that has a butterfly on it. That's like laying down. That was uncolored, and I have that too. Uh, but I'm pretty sure I packed that up also. Yeah, fun stuff. So we have officially been here for 45 whole minutes. Let's see. Do you use he, they pronouns or strictly they, them pronouns? I use strictly they, them pronouns. However, I believe that intention is very important when it comes to pronouns, because if someone misgenders me or uses the wrong pronouns because they don't know or they don't realize that I'm non-binary, I'm not going to get upset with them. And then also, if they're not using pronouns, the wrong pronouns, as a way to antagonize me, like if they're not trying to make me uncomfortable, but if it's just like an innocent mistake, I don't get upset at that either. So, like, I'm perfectly fine when people call me a girl. I'm perfectly fine when people call me a boy, when I can tell that they're not trying to upset me. So I don't get offended by those things because I don't view it as offensive to be a boy or offensive to be a girl. I only get offended when I know that someone is trying to hurt me and saying like, oh, well, you'll only ever be a girl. I'll only ever see you as a girl. Or you're just a confused trans guy. You're just trying to be different. Like, if people are actively trying to be mean, I can tell. And if someone is not, then it doesn't bother me. I want to grow my hair for cancer, but the length is starting to bug me. Thoughts, I'm cis passing, but I don't want to be dysphoric over my hair. Hair is always a tricky one for me also, because I get really bad anxiety when like the back grows out too much. And also I shaved my head before and I hated that experience. I felt so self-conscious all the time. The advice that I give for hair is always do it once just to see how it makes you feel, because hair grows back. You can cut it, you can do whatever you want to it. And so, like, I hated every second of having my head shaved, but I absolutely recommend everyone shave their head at least once just to do it, just to see how it feels, because you may love it, and if you hate it, like I did, it just grows back. And then when I grew my hair too long after that, and the back part was like longer and came down to about here, I also disliked that, and I would clip it up behind my hats, um, until eventually I started cutting it all off again. Uh, but I would just say, just if you're comfortable doing it, do it just to see how it makes you feel, just for the experience. Because if you hate it, you can just change it. So all depends, because your experience that you anticipate having might be different from what actually happens. So like maybe like for myself, I was like, oh, if I shave my head, it will be fine. And that was not the case. But like you could also, on the flip side of that, think, oh, I'm gonna hate this, and then you do it, and then you're like, actually, this is great, because that's how I feel about growing all of this hair out, which I'm gonna pull it out now. But my hair is quite long now. Um, but I thought that if I grew my hair out, I would not like it. But I actually like having the longer hair. So you could try it just to see just how it makes you feel. Because really there's no like risk in trying something new with your hair. That is a permanent risk, usually. Um, all right. Any tips for dating a cis person? Let's see. Hmm. I would say, firstly, I have dated cis people that are better about uh, my trans identity than some trans people that I've dated. I have dated trans people that have misgendered me and like dehumanized me and my identity and basically said that it's fake. And I've dated cis people that are like, yeah, I'm going to affirm your trans identity, and they've been way better allies to me. So I would say have a real conversation and talk about how you feel and your gender with the cis person that you're dating, and try and like really explain how you feel and like what matters to you that they do to affirm your identity. Like, this is how you can make me feel comfortable. And I want to know how you feel about this. Like, just have a real conversation about this is the expression that I have, this is the gender that I have, and I don't know, just try to gauge everyone's comfort levels, because you should be able to be unapologetically you in any relationship that you're in. Any tips on finding friends in or out of LGBTQ spaces? Let's see. I tend to. Are you in school? Because if you're in school, then you can always try and find other queer people in the schools that you go to, by finding like other clubs that maybe queer people could be interested in. So, like for example, you don't just have to join like a GSA type group, although those obviously help. But also, if you find like local things that are like queer culture type things that can help find other people. So, like for example, in Virginia, there's a film festival coming, and there's also we have a zine festival, and like those are things that typically a lot of queer people tend to be into, or at least are spaces that tend to be very queer friendly. So I would say just go to places and go to events, local events that could pertain to queer people or that would have a huge queer following, just so that you can try and meet other queer people, because I know that that definitely helps me. Because I am very, very, very shy, actually. It is hilarious to me that I am a YouTuber when I am as shy as I am. And so it is like, I tend to go to like events, even if I'm just as a wallflower, just to be around other queer people, because being around other queer people gives me at least a little bit of a social boost, to where I feel like sometimes I can say something like, "Oh, I like your hair," um, or just like get a little foot into the friendship doorway, you know? So I would say, yeah, go around local places, like local festivals or music places or things nearby. Um, Hopefully that would help. Let's see. We're gonna stay around for another 10 more minutes, my dear friends, but then I have got to go. And I will try and figure out the microphone situation. Oh, and I do want to add that my goal is to upload a YouTube video every Sunday, and then to have a live stream every Wednesday, both of which will always be at the same time. Like upload a video at noon and then have a live stream in the evening on Wednesday. Uh, Trying to keep it consistent. And then the live stream will be like a continuation of, oh, this is what we talked in the video. Does anybody have any other comments? We'll chat, we'll hang out, or whatever. But it can also just be about whatever you want to be, because I'm here for you. We're talking together. Um, but my goal is to do that, and I'm holding myself to it, which is why I already have so many different videos in the works. So let me actually talk about that. I have video that I just uploaded, which is my 2 years on T. I also have already filmed, Lachlan and I filmed a newly friend challenge video, and then Lachlan is actually coming back to visit me again next week, where we're going to film a video talking about like representation in the media, and we're gonna film another one. So I have at least 2 videos with them planned out, and then hopefully we'll film another video. I have the video about revamping my this thing, trying to change up this, because I'm gonna do more. I'm gonna like hang up some pictures or something. I don't know what else I'm gonna do. But so I have that, and then I also have some other things that I cannot get super in detail about yet, because they're in the works. I need to see the logistics of what I want to do, if it would actually work, before I film a YouTube video about it. But I have quite a few things that I have already planned, and quite a few things that are already in the works. And then other things that I'm open to doing, like for example, the duet with my pre-T self. I have like a list of videos that I'm open to. And of course, if you have any requests for videos, you can always send them my way. Like, hey, you make a video about this, and I could do that. But so I have a lot of videos that I'm planning, or that have already been planned. So I'm hopeful that everything will turn out okay. And then obviously that, like, I have the videos that I've planned, and then during the summer when I go to VidCon, I'll make a whole bunch more videos, because I have, like I said, a lot of things planned during VidCon. So hopefully there will be lots of great, interesting, fun videos for you all in the coming future that will be made by me. Oh, here's an interesting question. Any tips for someone who wants to start a YouTube channel? Equipment recommendations. First recommendation that I have is get a camera that, and there is not a consensus on this. Lots of people would disagree with me, and then lots of people would agree with me. I have a camera that has a flip out screen, and I like having the flip out screen, because then I can make sure that I am always in the shot if I'm filming, and then I scoot over a little too far, I can be like, oh, I'm out of the frame, and then scoot back. Or if I do something and I'm missing an arm in it, then I can come back and be like, there, now I can talk again. Um, some people would say, no, don't get one with a screen because then you'll never stop looking at yourself. But you just gotta learn to look into the lens. Um, I don't think it is necessary at the beginning of your channel to get an external microphone. And personally, the microphone that I have, I'm not particularly fond of. Like, it's fine, but I really was expecting better quality for how much I paid for it. But like, and it was recommended to me by a professional sound technician person. And so when I got it, I was like, this is sad. It's not as good as I wish. Um, but that's, yeah, it be like that sometimes. So I would say really just get yourself a camera that has at least fine video capabilities. Like to me, even I feel like your laptop, if your laptop has a fine camera, that's fine. Like it's not that big of a deal. And have some light source. You don't have to buy a light source. I currently am using this window over here. But I think for making YouTube videos, it is best if it is well lit, and best if there is at least a good sound where you don't hear so much background like buzzing, or at least if you throw some background music over that. I would say even if you don't know how to do the most, like, you don't need to do super complex editing. I would say just edit a little bit so that you can cut out like long pauses, which is definitely something that I do a lot because I will have very long pauses where I'm trying to think of the next thing that I'm going to say. Or like, for example, with the past video, long pauses as I am like scrolling through which questions and picking out the questions and then reading them and then thinking through my own answers. So I would say just a little, like I actually used to use Windows Live Movie Maker. All of my videos that went very viral were from Windows Live Movie Maker. Very minimal editing. And it worked apparently. Um, so I don't feel like you don't gotta be a whole production, especially not when you start, because that is a lot to put on yourself. If you're boring, you're trash. I'm boring and trash, but sometimes, for some reason, y'all are still here watching me. So who's the joke on? Just kidding. But yeah, that's another thing. Consistency is also key when starting a YouTube channel. You are right, my friend, and that is my biggest fault, which is why I'm trying to establish it now. It is never too late to try and be consistent. But yeah, that is my biggest struggle. I joke and I say that taking a hiatus is part of my brand now, and that's the saddest thing. But it'd be like that sometimes. But you say consistency is very important. But also, I feel like you can get away with being inconsistent. There are really big YouTubers, and a few might come to mind because I know I share a lot of people that watch my videos also watch their videos. There are a few big YouTubers, and I mean very big and very successful people that do not upload regularly, literally at all, and maybe only upload like once to 5 times a year, and they are super successful. And they have a huge like following and established brand, and so like just do what you can handle and don't put so much pressure on yourself, because at the end of the day you should want people who watch your videos to be people that just enjoy you for you and not just cranking out content. And I'm very fortunate because every time I'm like, hey everyone, I'm not feeling well, everyone says, that's okay, we support you, feel better, don't hurt yourself trying to get out videos or something. And I'm like, you guys are the best. So yeah, I would say don't put too much pressure on yourself. Just make things that you want to make because you want to make them. And everything will be fine. You will attract the right people who will like you for you. You just gotta be yourself. I give you the advice that my mom always gives me. When you go to a new school, just be yourself and you'll make friends who like you for you. That's all you gotta do. You be aight. That's what I'm saying. Alrighty, my friends. It is about time for me to skedaddle on along because it has been an hour. And it's been even longer than an hour from us trying to do this the first time and it not working. But I figured it out now. But if anyone has any last questions, I can answer those. But other than that, my dear friends, I will have to depart from you. Does anyone have any last questions? I'm pretty sure that the archive of this video will stay up on YouNow, which, by the way, I'm pretty sure I got this to work to where it's streaming on YouTube as well. But come back, if you were on YouTube, when we do these again, the YouNow streams again in the future, you have to be on YouNow in order for me to see what you are typing, because I'm reading the comments from YouNow. So people want me to make more videos about mental health. I can do that. I can absolutely talk about that. And I can talk about mental health independent from transitioning as well, just like general stuff. Or talk about like what it's like going back to college, mental health stuff. Fun. All right, my dear friends. And it is with that I will depart from you. I will see you very soon. Favorite LGBTQ shows and movies. Okay, I will put all of these things in. And I can actually do that with Lachlan, because Lachlan, if you don't know who Lachlan is, Lachlan Watson is an actor who plays a trans character on the show The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. So they are in media stuff as well, and they're in the TV media stuff. What is your major? Spanish. I am majoring in Spanish, and I am working towards an interpretation certificate. Interpretation and translation certificate, I should say. All right. Okie dokie, friends. This is for real this time. I am going to see you all very, very soon, and I will actually see you on Sunday, because on Sunday is when I'm going to be uploading a new video. We're holding me to it. It is going to happen. All right. Goodbye, everyone. Thank you for hanging out with me, even through my microphone not knowing what it wants to do. Hopefully, I will figure out the microphone situation for the next stream next Wednesday. All right, my friends. Goodbye.